Welcome to the program. This is special post Copa America. This is 2 episodes in a week post Copa
I
America.
believe that we will lose. I believe that we will lose.
Wow. Just diving right into it.
Just kidding.
Richard Bruce Klinsman Abernathy.
I was hoping for Arena.
Oh, gosh. You know, the funny thing is, and I think I said this in the show a couple weeks ago when we had David Charles, POTUS Fiore on, and Steven Heinzitis, is that's what's going to happen is if Klinsman gets fired, which I don't think is the result of us losing in the Copa America. But if he does get fired, I think that's going to be the school of thought is some people are going to get enough of a kind of, well, we tried it with a guy that, wasn't from here, even though Klinsman has lived here for, multiple, at least 2 decades after he finished playing. But we tried it with a guy that's not from here and doesn't know how we do things. We got to go back to a homegrown coach. And the only one you could really hire would be Arena. That's the funny thing about all that is that
is that like an NFL team like hiring Dick Duran or Mike Mularkey?
I was going to say Marty Schottenheimer. Like if Marty Schottenheimer just got back in the mix somehow. Like that's
at least Marty got teams to the playoffs.
No, yeah, he's not like a complete goober. I'm not saying that's not a knock on Schottenheimer. But if you're like a fan of like the Cleveland Browns and they get Marty Schottenheimer, are you like jacked about that? I mean, as Joe Farah used to say, shout out to his bifocal game, definitely. Like, he used to go on like, we got to really be proud of Marty Schottenheimer here because there's these things called contacts. And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm good with what I got right here. Anyway.
He was rocking the bifocals in like the heyday of the starter jacket era. Like those mid-90s where they had like, it was like they were like the melting colors.
It's a brilliant ensemble. And why hasn't that come back? Everything else has come back. Like, I know people wear starter jackets as an ironic hipster thing, but I'm talking about I want those back on the sidelines.
I don't think the Charlotte Hornets starter jacket ever became like a not cool thing. I'm not kidding. Like it's something about that purple and teal, man. Old school Hornets colors.
Oh, those are good jackets. Okay, so just the game. USA knocked out of Copa America. I'm like, can't sleep. Not because of that, just in general. Rich and I are texting, and I'm like, we're going to get on the air. We're going to record. Because the text that Rich sent, by the way, the name of the program is The Word Podcast it's on the internet, I think. YouTube and soon to be iTunes. Richard Bruce Klinsman, Abernathy, James Mundia. But yeah, what we kind of were
James Israel Beckerman Mundia.
I can't rock that hair.
Maybe Yedlin. I'll give you Yedlin.
Hey, I'll take it. I will.
He outran Messi. That was the best thing that happened for the U.S. tonight. Was when he outran Messi on that ball.
I mean, as I'm seeing highlights, that's the thing. Did we have any shots on goal? In fact, I'm going to pull up the stats because when I checked. The game was 2/3 done. Yeah, no shots and no shots on goal. Again, like I was telling Rich in the text, this is what happens when you
miss 100% of the shots you don't take, James, as we established last night.
It's becoming a theme on the show.
We don't know who said it, but we know that it's true.
Next week on the program, Wayne Gretzky on to talk about who actually said that. Was it you or was it not? We're going to hold his feet to the fire. But yeah, Rich and I are texting after the game, and he's like, is this us being good at soccer thing ever going to happen? And I have a lot of thoughts on that, playing the game, coaching the game now, being a fan of the game my whole life. But essentially, this is the thing about being an up-and-coming team perennially, is that you have to eventually get past that hurdle. And we always take the 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And not just in terms of the results on the field. It's also about the way that we administer the game. And ultimately, when it comes to the competitive side, I'll say something that's a little bit maybe subjective here. So this is an opinion-based thing. That
no opinions allowed on the internet, James.
None at all. Right? I have to back this up with a lot of objective fact.
Yes.
But I'll use an example of something that I've talked about, I think, on the show. When we got 3rd place in like the 2000 Olympics in basketball, I think that was that year. But 04. I think it was 04.
Yeah,
Like Puerto Rico beat us, like Argentina beat us.
yeah.
People were like mad. It
Carlos
wasn't just
Arroyo dominated us.
right. It wasn't like, oh, well, man, that stinks that we lost, and we no, because we are the country that created the dream team, right?
It was
So
unacceptable.
exactly that was the mentality. So what happened? They completely changed around the scouting process. They completely changed around the coaching idea, right? Because it was kind of just like, yeah, get some NBA guys in here. It'll be fun. You maybe throw a college guy a bone, come coach the team. It's great PR. We're mixing the college and pro. Oh my gosh. They completely just tossed that out the window and said, we're going to bring in the best coach and we're going to bring in the best team players.
And we're gonna have tryouts, and they changed the way the whole process went years out, and we're asking for commitment from guys. Just the whole ideology changed, if you will.
Now the thing is, not that we don't have structures in place for that with the national team soccer here, but we don't have that urgency that occurred after the '04 Olympics for the men's basketball team. Harder to do on a sport that we don't do as well traditionally in, but that makes it even more important. That's kind of what's frustrating about it is the things that need to be done on a micro level and a macro level should be done with urgency and not in a token way. And yes, so we talk about youth development. We talk about, well, this thing. Here's one thing I'll put to bed right now. I can't stand this idea of our best athletes are playing other sports. Okay, our best athletes are playing other sports where being athletic is an asset. So that makes sense. If I'm 6'7" and I'm going to be 6'7", then I'm probably taking a different path. Then I'm not playing tennis. I'm not playing soccer. Okay. So that whole thing, oh, well, we need to get guys like LeBron, those types of athletes playing soccer. The reason why we don't compete internationally is not because of athleticism. Because if that were the case, even our third or fourth best athletes, if we pooled all those people together and put them on a soccer team, we still wouldn't do as well. So I'm going to say something controversial here, but to do well at international soccer, you need to have good international soccer players, not good athletes. And this, of course, flies in the face of what sports kind of is in this country, because a lot of times, where do we start when we're talking about? We talked yesterday about the NBA draft, right? Guys leaving early from college to go in, or forgoing college altogether, or as that used to be the case.
Wingspan.
Yes, exactly.
Second jump ability.
We talked to your boy Jay Billis. We talked about he's long. He is miles long, and so that flies in the face of what we think of when it comes to what a successful athlete is. When we say, well, actually, the most important thing is that the guy is good at soccer. I mean, look at the team that we just lost 4-0 to tonight. Any unbelievably gifted physical specimens on that team? They're definitely, it's a 90-minute game. They can run for a while. They can obviously cardiovascular endurance. Right, but we have people that have cardiovascular skills.
They don't have there's not the Argentinian LeBron wasn't out there. Like it's not like other countries have 6'8" dudes out there playing soccer that are dominating people.
I mean, you do have the outliers. Like, in fact, the guy that scored in us in the World Cup to knock us out, Romelu Lukaku, gigantic guy, scores a lot of goals in the Premier League. There are guys like him that are outliers, but for the most part, you're talking about an average height of, I believe, 5'8", 5'9" for an international player. So actually, I could be wrong. I think it may be a little bit higher.
Yeah, I could see it being like 5'10", 5'11".
It may be trending up, but I mean, but then again, look at the best player on the field tonight in terms of reputation. Probably the shortest guy out there, Lionel Messi. So now he's got speed, he's got incredible skill and agility, but it's not necessarily like this is the best athlete who's going to do well. So we have to look at it from that perspective, but that is a lot harder to do. That's kind of like the journey that I've been on as a coach over the past couple of years, is realizing that to really develop good players, it's not just work hard or run fast or kick hard. You have to look at it from the perspective of developing a complete player and a complete person. That's
As a bit of
hard.
an outsider on especially the way that the national team or the national program is run, it seems to me that it's not as easy as just like, well, we have all these great athletes. Some of them have to be good at soccer and stick them in there. Much like with while genetics matter and innate skill matters, Kevin Durant doesn't become Kevin Durant just because he's naturally going to be good at basketball no matter what. It's that he has that competition from the time he's 5-6 years old against other players who are good at the sport and play, and there's so many people that it drives you and it forces you to become better for one reason or another, whether it's to play or to beat your friends or to get on this team or to go to college, well, whatever it is that motivates you. Competition brings out the best in people, and if you only have to compete up to a certain level, then you can only kind of go so high. Like we've heard it before. It's like Jordan got bored. Like Jordan could have been even better, but he didn't have anybody to push him. And maybe it's just that there's not enough people focusing on soccer who are good at it. And so I mean I think there is a little bit of validity to our best athletes don't play soccer, but it's not so much from a cream of the crop perspective. It's a mass numbers perspective that there aren't as many people playing, so you don't find those diamonds in the rough, or you don't force the B player to become an A player.
Now, see, what you're saying is perfect, because as an outsider, you're recognizing it. That's what's so frustrating about it, is that I've been involved in the game at some level or another since I was 7 years old. Okay. As an outsider, who hasn't had the level of involvement that I've had, you've just pinned down exactly what the issue is, and you articulated it way better than I could, because I get wrapped up in my opinions and my experiences. But as an outsider, you've summed it up so perfectly, especially when you talked about going from a B player to an A player. See, this is exactly what the issue is that eventually you have to push yourself past that limit. Now, the question becomes, when you yourself as a player might not be able to do that because maybe you're younger or maybe you're just not your personality, how do you normally get that? Well, in other sports, yeah, it's baked in, right? You have to be this good to make your JV basketball team or whatever. And so what we've experienced in soccer is that competitive environment is not as much of a given because of sometimes the structure. It is a pay to play kind of setup, and not that other sports don't have that, but because of the socioeconomics of the sport and the logistics of the sport, it's kind of a part of soccer. It's kind of like, well, we can create an environment for people that want to participate and pay, but it may not be as competitive. This is kind of like this is like a big devil's advocate question that coaches face all the time. So then going along with becoming a B player to an A player, if let's say the kid can't do it and the environment won't provide it because of the level of competition, where would you say that the responsibility falls after that?
It's a great question.
It goes to the coaches. Now, if you have coaches that didn't grow up in that environment, or that just don't understand that it's necessary, or maybe they're profiting from this environment the way it is. Hey, this is I'm not trying to lose my job over here, but this is just kind of candid observations in my periods, my time coaching and playing. So if the coaches don't kind of buy into that mentality, then you're not going to develop those players. So it becomes this vicious cycle. Some of it is, in fact, I would say most of it is unintentional, but we end up where we are. In fact, I would say it's amazing that we actually compete at the level that we do, because we're always a team. That's why you and I talked before the broadcast started. We beat Spain a couple of years ago in the tournament before it's a Confederation Cup. It's a tournament before the World Cup in South Africa. And we didn't really, it was an upset, but we played better than them. I mean, we didn't get lucky. it wasn't a last minute goal, or in the sense that, we just kind of snuck one in. We played better than them. And the reason for that is, and this has kind of been the story with the men's national team for a while, is that, and it's why big countries sometimes don't like to play us in tournaments, is because if we get on fire and we start to feel it, we're really flying. And we kind of have this, we can get that mean streak in us, but it's not consistent. And when you're, like I said before,
is that coaching? Is that game plan? Is that approach to the team more so than it being an indictment of the talent level or just general ability? Because watching that game tonight, they just look like they did not belong on the same field as Argentina for the most part. And it's like I get that there's a difference in skill level, but it seems like the approach is completely different. The innate ability was just the first touch every time was so crisp and pure, and it's like we were running around and they were staying still, yet somehow the ball was getting down the field. It was absolutely, it was amazing to watch from that perspective, because like we just didn't know what the hell we were doing, and every time we got the ball we were just spazzing all over ourselves or trying to immediately kick it all the way, down the field, and I just don't understand why there's that much of a difference at that level. I feel like it should be a little smaller, based more on individual excellence rather than team-wide, skill and ability.
And you see, that is one of the great misconceptions that I myself am just now, again, in my journey as a coach in the past couple of years, especially starting to understand, is we assume that if you have 11 good players, that, you should pretty much have it together. And in soccer, more so than I would say other sports, because it's a continuous clock, it's a continuous game. You have the same number of players in the field in American football, right? But there's stoppages, there's a lot of adjustments that can be made. It's relatively, well, not even relatively, it's very repetitive, not in a pejorative way. It's just the way the structure of the sport is. So what I've found, and through the education that I've been participating in the past couple of years, is we assume that individual excellence and athleticism is what sets us back in this country as far as soccer. Those things matter in soccer, especially at the top level, yes. But what I'm seeing is when you have a team that communicates well, and it's mostly nonverbal, that's how you advance the ball down the field with seemingly standing still, because you know where the next pass should go before the pass that's coming to you even gets there. So it's 2 or 3 moves ahead, not because you can see into the future, but because you have such good understanding of where your teammates are and how people react to what your teammates do. So it's sort of like the example I would give is, in basketball, you have a read offense, right? So if this guy does this, then we do this every time, and it's a secret to just us. So imagine having the ability to do that over 45 minutes. That's kind of what sets apart the better teams. So you don't even have to have good athletes. That's the thing, that going back to the athleticism, you don't even have to have the best athletes most of the time to do that. Of course, at the top level, the World Cup, Champions League, the really big European leagues, that 1 or 2% difference that you get from being in better shape than your opponent, that matters, because everything's almost equal in terms of skill, conditioning, the coaching you've gotten. But for, when you look at a team, okay, when you talk about the USA versus Argentina, it's going to close the gap a lot less. Us being fit, and by the way, we're always a very fit team. Every World Cup, we're always one of the fittest teams. Conditioning is not an issue for us. But so you talk about Argentina versus the USA, if they have this massive advantage in terms of the way they communicate and see the game over us, then it becomes easy. And that's what you see in the scoreline. So I don't see a bad team versus a good team. I see a team that knows themselves very well, comfortable with each other, and a team that's still figuring out how they want to play. And so then going back to what you were saying about tactics and game management, that's another thing, because what we do as a country is we change that constantly. Lineups, formations, tactics. Why? Because we kind of have to stay in the game. But if you're a team that
seems like we're kind of gimmicky. We're the college basketball team in the tournament that tries to, oh, we're going to go to the matchup zone, and we're going to play this zone, we're going to go to this press. We're going to do these wonky kind of kitschy things to try to tilt the advantage more towards the middle a little bit.
I mean, that was the best example of what you're saying is the Belgium game in the last World Cup. We had an unbelievable game plan. In fact, it won me over to Klinsmann because I wanted him badly when we tried to get him the first time, didn't work, and we got him, and I was really excited. Then I cooled off, but that's natural because I understood that, wow, the problems that we have are deeper than just the head coach. And but he won me over in that game because what the game plan was? It was, we're going to sit deep, we're going to defend. We still couldn't stop them. Tim Howard had the best game
he was
of any
unbelievable.
goalie. I mean, he had the best game of any goalie in maybe the last 2 or 3 World Cups because he wasn't going up against some podunk offense. Belgium was a dark horse candidate to win the World Cup before it started. So he was going up against a really good offense. He gets in there. So then, we're sitting deep, we're defending, we're counterattacking. We get a chance, I think it's the 87th minute or maybe even in injury time, Wondolowski on the doorstep. Yeah. But that was the game plan. That was the game plan. That was the only way we're going to get out of there. And once you get into extra time with a team like Belgium, who's not only are they going to be in a little bit more, I don't want to say soccer shape because, like I said, we're always fit. But I would say that they probably have a little bit more of the brain toughness to last the extra period and make it productive. And they did. They made mincemeat of us in extra time. It was like a different game.
It's like anything else. Like anytime you have, whether it's football, basketball, the way for the underdog to win is you limit the number of possessions or the number of chances that the other team has. Because statistically, I mean, really all sports are a series of probabilities. And, you're likely to hit the shot X percent of the time. And if the more chances you have, even more that multiplies, it'll eventually get back to the mean. And you'll, if you give Steph Curry 10 open threes, he'll make less than if you gave him 20 open threes, if that makes sense. That he could go 3 for 10, but then he makes 8 of the next 10, and then it normalizes. So your only chance is to limit, whether it's for the way Virginia plays or teams in the playoffs that the NFL that, hey, we're gonna use all the clock, we're gonna run the ball, we're gonna do all these things just to try to keep the other team off the field, that type of stuff. And I do see the way that we do those types of things in soccer. And it just, I think there's just only so far you can go kind of playing that way, where it's, in a way, it's playing not to lose, not in the way we traditionally think about it, but it's hey, let's just give ourselves a chance. Maybe that's the better term for it than playing not to lose. Yep. Playing to try to win rather than playing to win.
Yep, that's exactly it. I mean, but that's why he won me over as a coach, because it was the most realistic approach that I'd seen with a team, with a World Cup team that wasn't. It was pragmatic, but still kind of hopeful, which actually I would say kind of sums up Jurgen Klinsmann's tenure. He's a very, very optimistic guy, but he kind of comes at it with that German pragmatism. Look, this is what we need to do. And I think that's rubbed people the wrong way, which is funny because, like I said, if he somehow is out, which I don't think is going to happen, I think he's actually going to coach the national team for the next 10 years. I just don't.
There's people that are fed up with him.
Well, if
it's so much him or just that they're frustrated and he's the easy target.
I mean, and look, when you're the national team coach, your job is to win games, especially when you're a national team coach because you manage less games. So people aren't really going to give you. They're not going to cut you slack and say, "Well, yeah, we're still working on developing youth talent." No, nobody cares. So but I just what I would say to people that are frustrated with him, and look, I had my period with him, but I got over that quickly after the World Cup. I got over it so quickly. Oh my gosh. Is I would say, what's the alternative? Because you're going to have a really hard time bringing in another kind of well-respected, internationally renowned coach. Not because they don't want to coach here, but because it becomes like those guys are going to be in their 50s and 60s, possibly even like older. And, it's like, are you bringing somebody in to build something, or are you bringing somebody in to win games? And that was what excited me about the Klinsmann idea was, now, and is it's not just, okay, he's a guy that can win World Cup games for us. And he has kind of doubled down on that by becoming the technical director of United States soccer. So it's kind of like, to use another sports analogy, it'd be like being the director of basketball operations at the New York Knicks. Like, you kind of have a little bit more, like, it's not just coaching games. You're also like player personnel, or maybe like a GM for an NFL team. Or if you're like what's his name? The Redskins coach, Shanahan, not anymore, but when he was at the Redskins, he had some like, front office.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so he's doubled down on that. I think that's another reason why it's like, you can't just like, what are you going to do? Fire him as a head coach, keep him as a technical director, or like fire him from both and start from scratch again? So that's why I think he'll coach for the next 10 years, or at least the next World Cup.
I'm surprised by your optimism. It seems like all the real soccer people that I know, it seems like pretty much all of them are kind of fed up with Klinsmann for one reason or another. I know our mutual friend Dan Finley seems like he's not much of a Jurgen fan at all.
Well, look, none of this is to say that he's perfect or that I agree with everything he's doing. I don't like constantly changing tactics. I don't like the attempt at mind games. Like, there was this whole kerfuffle with like his opinion on MLS players versus players that play over. It was like,
oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
but at the same time, in practice, the words that were being said needed to be said. I mean, I had like an hour of conversation with my brother about this, and I don't really talk to my brother about this kind of stuff very often, or at all, really. But we were like getting into it on the phone when I was at work, and I was just like, look, I get it. I want MLS players to get a shot. But what he's saying is true. A guy that's played overseas playing against better talents is going to be better prepared. That's just the bottom line. He's still bringing MLS guys into the side.
And that goes straight back to the youth development point we were talking about earlier. If the same theory applies at that level, why doesn't it apply at the youth level?
And that goes into like, then I'm not going to go down this tangent because there's a little bit more like conspiratorial ideas as to why we're having issues there. And I'll share that with you offline, and then maybe we'll figure out a way to disseminate it and bring it on the show. But I read it and I was like, yeah, it makes perfect sense. Like, I'm just looking at like, yeah, like this shouldn't be like the MLS and like the way that we do things. It shouldn't be. I
think I know. If I guess, can we talk about it?
If you guess it right, we can go for it.
The Illuminati.
No, surprisingly not. Most things lead back to them. When I was like, the tone of the article in the first couple of pages, I was like, oh my god, this guy's not going to put a pyramid like picture with like a soccer ball as the eye. I just saw it coming. So no, but yeah,
national soccer treasure.
Oh God, no! I'm not going on Nicolas Cage doing soccer like sidebar. I'm not gonna let you dump me, dude. See, this is what you try to rope me in. No, but no, it's not that I'm optimistic. I mean, I'm just adopting the pragmatism with Klinsmann that I think that everybody needs to, because, as I said, yeah, talk to our boy Dan, who, shout out to him. I don't know if he watched.
We need to get him on.
We need to get him on the program. Because here's the thing: what's the alternative? The alternative is, because the alternative is not bring in a better coach. Like, that better coach exists in the physical realm, but not in the realm of going to sit down and talk about coaching our team. Doesn't exist.
It just doesn't make sense for them for one reason or another.
Yeah, I mean,
or for us even.
Exactly. No, yeah. It's why would we want to put ourselves through that? We're still there's still shockwaves, from Jurgen's MLS comments. I mean, unless you want to bring in like a Patsy, like I could see that. That's what I could see. I could see them bringing in like it'd be like a really old
figurehead.
Yeah, exactly. It would be like a really old, like former European coach or South American coach that's just kind of biding his time, maybe has good connections with our federation, and they just say, you know what, we're going to roll the dice and go a different direction. And they kind of get somebody that doesn't stir the pot, and we do decent enough at a couple World Cups or whatever. But that's the only way you move away, because now with Klinsmann, like because he's stuck around, because they've missed their window. If they were going to do anything, I think they missed their window. So you've doubled down on him by not like getting rid of him or not forcing him to resign. So like at this point, like what are you going to do if you're Sunil Gulati, the chairman of whatever his position is at the United States Soccer Federation, chairman of life, like this one guy just controls all this stuff. But it's just I'm so it's not necessarily optimism about him. It's more the alternative would like scare me to death, like a Bruce Arena. I mean, I'm not trying to hate on him. I don't know. I mean, it's just funny to me because sports is so results oriented, and like in soccer, it's kind of like we're just like happy to be at the party.
That's sort of what I was going to say. Is that we U.S. soccer is kind of like that team in the NBA lottery that picks 8th every year, where there's you get a decent young player, there's hope. Hey, maybe this is the year they got some nice pieces. You win a couple games, maybe you're not supposed to win. It's like, oh yeah, we could build on this. Next year could be the year, and then just next year never comes. And you're not completely terrible, but you can't really compete for anything, and nobody really takes you that seriously.
I mean, you basically that's the best way to describe it.
We're the Orlando Magic.
Yes. Yeah. Never going to be the bottom, but yeah, always going to be just mediocre. I mean, not always, hopefully, but the way things are trending. So yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, and then people like, I got to do it. I get into it all the time with people at work, my friends, and I'm just like, no, like I'm not getting excited anymore. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I'm not getting mad either. I'm just not getting excited because I know what's going on here. And that's not to say that I don't want it to get better, but I'm looking at it with it's kind of like, I've
you're dubious.
Well, what is the not through the looking glass, but like I've just seen like the wizard behind the curtain or whatever. What happens there in the Wizard of Oz? Is that what happens?
Yeah, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly. Like I've you see things, you hear things, you learn things, and I'm not talking about even from an insider perspective. No, I know I've just played and coached my whole life, but that tells you, being at that level, the grassroots level, like we like to call it, you see enough to go, okay, this is going to be a challenge. Even just this week, kind of as we wrap up things at the club I coach for, getting ready for next season, I'm like, wow, this is going to be real. Like this is a massive animal to handle, and that's part of why we struggle. I mean, we have 300 million people in this country. Got one of my coaching kind of heroes and mentors, whatever you want to call them. He was doing a clinic in the USA, and he's like, "You guys have 300 million people in this country, so you think?" And he's from the Netherlands. He's like, "I'm from the Netherlands. We have maybe 8, and we compete every World Cup. We're pretty much in it. Do you guys think if you guys got your act together that you wouldn't just dominate? But we can't." That's the funny thing about it. I mean, that's why I was texting you earlier. I was like, if we wanted to, we could do it. We could run it. We could have we could have an A and a B national team at that, with the talent that we pull.
How much of it is generational in the sense that, like the Netherlands is a perfect example, where there's a high participation rate, or there's enough people that have been exposed that you always have access to somebody who knows what's up. Whether it's the parent knows to get you in at this age or to do this or promote this or not. Like even if it's not direct coaching, but just like with basketball, like there's so many people that play. There's so many people that have enough of a base understanding that whether it's getting your kid involved and signing them up for a league or playing with them in the backyard and teaching them simple stuff, even if you're not their coach, that just that immersion in the game through generations, it becomes sort of part of the social fabric in a way that I don't know how you account for that or factor that in, but it seems like that type of thing matters. That just, like baseball in, Latin American countries, basketball here, soccer in so many countries around the world, whatever it is, it seems like that matters, and I don't know how you quantify it.
Right. You can't quantify it, but you're exactly right. I mean, that's the issue. But I think it can be done because if it's important enough for you, and that goes back to the whole, bronze medal thing I was talking about earlier with the men's basketball. If it's important enough for you, you'll find a way. So I'll give a personal example. When I got to college, I kind of had this harebrained idea, I wanted to become a better basketball player. And I played for fun with my friends, but I was always kind of woefully average. And so I put in a lot of time, a lot of time. And before you knew it, it just kind of snapped. And I realized I'm where I want to be. And it was deliberate, but it wasn't noticeable. And that was over the course of, let's say, 2 years, maybe less. And so what you're saying is exactly right. We don't always have that baked into the experience for players here. And that's the sad part, is that it wouldn't really be that hard. And it goes back to coaches, it goes back to competition, it goes back to how we administer the game. And we stand in our own way a lot of the time. I mean, that's just that. And that's the part that's just maddening to me is, that we are, it's not because we don't have the desire individually or collectively, but because it isn't an organizational priority to do it in a way that's going to lead to results. Whereas in other areas, it is. Entertainment's a great example. We have no problem just taking something that's from another country that's worked, bring it over here, boom, done. Right? I mean, that's a little bit dumbed down, but it's just weird, that we can take things that somewhere else. I mean, we didn't invent these talent shows that are now everywhere. That's all been done before. Yeah. I mean, now again, we adapt it to our humor. And that's, again, another beautiful thing about it is that we take something that's worked somewhere else. We know that the core concept is pretty good. They like it over there. Hey, I like the British Office. Okay, we have to adapt it to an American perspective. That's kind of why the first season of The Office in the US version, the first couple episodes tanked, because they almost copied it word for word from the British script. And then they kind of adapted it, took advantage of the talent they had there, the actors, and it became its own animal and way funny and almost revolutionary. That kind of, faux documentary style is now everywhere, even on shows where it doesn't make any sense, like Modern Family. Why is there a camera crew following you around? But people don't care because it worked on The Office. They're like, yeah, camera in the bedroom or what? It's like, what? So, yeah, so that's, if it's not as much of an organizational priority. And again, that kind of goes back to the conspiratorial deal, is that I think that people would rather have it the way it is. So that's that.
Strong words.
I don't know. I mean, it's just frustrating. But we can only do what you can do. That's something I've been dealing with a lot this week. I mean, I just wrapped up tryouts with the club I work for, parent meetings yesterday before you and I went on the air. It's like, you know what? I have to take care of what I can take care of. I have all these things I want to do, but no, there's already so much going on. The best thing I can do is do your job.
Right, Belichick.
Oh man. So yeah. So we just had to get on the air and just vent. I think I'll be able to sleep now.
If you've got hate in your heart, let it down.
I'm not mad. I'm just aware of what's happening.
You're resigned to our fate.
Yeah, but it's just tough resigning to a fate that doesn't need to be resigned to. You know, it's sort of like when your friends trick you into going out and you don't want to go out, and you're like, I don't have to do this. I could just get out of the car.
Yeah. But yeah, or when you're like sitting at home and you have like the Cameron Fry moment, you're like, he's gonna keep calling me and keep calling me, keep calling me, and then you just came in and do what people want you to do.
I forgot about that scene. That's so ahead of its time.
I know, it's great.
It's funny, like you text your friends something that's like quasi important. You don't hear from them for 6 hours, but then like they send you one text like, "Hey, you want to go out?" and you don't respond in 5 minutes, and then you're all of a sudden it's like DEFCON 1, like a SWAT team is banging down your door. Come on, dude, we're gonna get drinks, man. Oh, I'm sorry, I was on the phone with my mom. I didn't get your 14 text messages about going out sometime in 3 hours. Like, I don't know. So yes, I'm resigned. But yes, maybe I'll be able to rest tonight. But yeah, well, the way we're going, we have to do a show every night. I mean, you know what? Let's just try to the Word Network. We're gonna get. We need yeah, we need to get we need to get a couple co-hosts. We need to find. We need.
Let's take a better game plan to cultivating this fledgling podcasting network than the U.S. takes for the soccer program. Let's think this out a little bit.
Ooh.
Let's use a little foresight before we just start trying to get people signed up so we can get that league fee money.
Wow, Richard Bruce Klinsman Abernathy.
I'm a little freaked out with the way you're looking and talking to me right now.
I'm sorry. No, I'm just getting excited. It's okay. It's late. I'm home alone. So I just start doing podcasts. So yeah, you're right. We're gonna think it through. We need to get another guest in the program, though.
I think we should get Thunder Dan on here at some point.
Does he have a kid now, or am I misreading that?
I don't think so. But
Is
I don't
he
know.
Married? That might be a different person that looks like him on Facebook.
Yeah,
it's all the
I've
same
never been
now.
on Facebook, so I don't know.
You ever get on Facebook?
Never.
Wow, I thought I was the only one that I'm about that. Like I get on to post the link to our show, and that's about it.
Yeah, I get on every 3 months.
Wow. Good, because I mean, we don't need a Facebook page for this show. I hate Facebook pages for it used to be kind of the way before they messed it all up. Facebook pages used to be useful for stuff like this. Now it's just it's insane. It doesn't work anyway. All right, the Word Podcast special edition, breaking down USA soccer, Copa America.
Yeah, you might say he's got a little Messi out there on the pitch tonight.
Get him out of here! Get him out! Get him out of here!
Listen, puns may be the lowest form of humor, but I don't care.
No, I'm into it. Come on. How do you come up with this stuff? I was not prepared for that. Oh man. This guy. You believe this guy?
It just comes to me. It's a gift.
Oh man. Okay. Well, you can stay tuned. We'll be back on the air next week.
Or maybe sooner. Who knows?
Yeah, I know. If something happens in the world of sports, then we're just gonna jump on the air and do it live. We'll do it live.
We'll see how the NBA draft goes on Thursday. We may have to have an emergency podcast.
Is it actually this Thursday?
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you what. I thought I was going to get a little bit of a break from sports stuff that I had to pay
I'm dragging you back. I'm dragging you back in.
This is insane. Do I get any time where I'm not paying attention with one ear and eye to a sporting event?
No, not as long as I'm around.
And what's funny is, let's just take a look at the crystal ball, right? We start preseason camp July 25th for the club I coach. Then from then on, it's basically through December. At the same time, we have college football, and then we have the NFL.
Don't forget the PGA Tour playoffs, the FedEx Cup playoffs.
We have golf. We have the postseason baseball.
NFL training camp. And then training camp starts in August.
Oh, is that right? So, yeah, we really should do the show. we should do the show every day.
We should never stop doing the show. It should just be like Ed.
24-hour sports podcast, dual hosted, live on YouTube. Wait, I was going to ask, what is YouTube's live streaming service? This is it. It's what we're using right now.
Yeah.
But can you do it? Yeah, we can do it with the Hangouts app. We can actually do it from our phones. Okay.
In 3D.
That's what we're going to do. Get your 3D glasses ready. Yeah, and we also need to work on is my screen oh no, there it is. Nope, thought I lost it for a second there. Okay. Well, we got someone that just tuned in towards the end of the broadcast here. I wish there was a way we could tell who's actually watching, but we're actually wrapping up the broadcast here.
Identify yourself.
Actually, let me see if I can figure out the chat in the on the actual room, because if you do leave a chat there or a comment, it does actually show up.
Yeah, Powell figured it out. We need to get him back on, so we can teach us about our
Powell
technology.
Latimer figured it out?
Yeah, I think it was him.
Oh wait, there's a chat room. Identify yourself. Let's get really militant with people that are watching the show. I mean, that's a really good idea.
It's the best idea we've had so far.
the best of many. Okay, so NFL draft Thursday. Well, then you know what? We'll definitely be on the air. Not live, but we'll be back on the air to cover that next week. We've obviously got wrapping up the other regional international soccer tournament going on. That is the Euros.
Yeah,
and then
Spain lost today. That was interesting.
Yeah, when you're playing against a team that's hungry and you're playing against a team that you don't have to beat to advance, those kinds of things tend to happen. It's surprising when Spain does it because they're usually a little bit tighter. Even though they're not at the pinnacle they were when they were winning the World Cup and the Euros, but it's definitely surprising. The Euros have been truthfully kind of disappointing. Another great tweet that I saw, maybe I mentioned it last night, some of the games that we're seeing is a great example of why the tournament should be 16 teams like it's always been and not 24, because the quality of the play is some of these games. It's like, I'm really trying. I'm trying to keep up with it.
Though, that's fun.
I don't see, but that's the thing. That's like Disneyfication to me. Like, I don't really, when I watch the World Cup, I'm not watching for stories. When I watch international tournaments, like I'm not watching
because of the Mighty Ducks movies.
That's how obviously. I mean, let's just. How about traumatic moments when Gordon Bombay and that coach play? What is it? Is it three pole? What is it called in the movie? Where you have to hit the crossbar,
I forget.
But like, somehow the game gets dirty and Bombay gets injured by the other coach. That stuck with me. It stuck with me. But no, that's not why I don't want Iceland to. I want them to do well.
Recover from the Adam Banks gerrymandering fiasco from the first Mighty Ducks movie. Bureaucracy at its lowest, really.
I love those movies, man. Oh my gosh! Shout out to Josh Jackson. Hey, get paid, son. That's a royalty check right there, Josh Jackson. You kidding me?
Oh.
Stacked cheese, Josh. Anyway, no, that's not why I don't want them to do well. I'm just saying I don't want to watch them in a major tournament.
Wasn't Kenan Thompson in
he was in Mighty Ducks too. Knuckle Puck. I mean, come on, bro. I mean, it's Knuckle Puck time. Hey, there's another royalty check there too. I mean, these guys making. Man, we did it all wrong, man. We should have started podcasting when we were like 6. Get somewhere, get that cheese. I mean, talk about a career. Like,
seriously,
you think that guy's like thinking twice at Whole Foods at the hot bar like I do? I'm like sweating bullets when they put on the scale. He's like, nah, swipe, girl. Go ahead, I got that money. I got that Mighty Ducks 2 money. I'm like sweating bullets. I'm like, can I get a little craft beer with this? Or no. Just a water. No.
So when he goes to Chipotle and he orders guacamole before they even say anything, he's like, I know it's extra.
It does the Dane Cook.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I mean he's not thinking twice. If Keenan Thompson's like, no, he's getting two of those like buckets.
Oof. So he's not asking for the water cup and then trying to sneak some Sprite in the water cup.
Doesn't need to, man.
I mean, that was my move back in the day.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I did that within the past year. It was probably when I was in Miami when things weren't going so hot. You just had to get a little sustenance.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't realize the water tap was under the lemonade. I thought it was the same thing. That's my bad.
This guy's got a cover story. Wow. Well, no, I mean, I just don't think that we should have to watch Iceland or Hungary or Turkey for that matter. I'm sorry. I just don't. That's the if the pool of teams that
the American soccer snob. That's
Yeah, I mean it's ironic, isn't it? If that's the right use of that term, is what I'm saying ironic, or is it? I know it's probably ignorant, but I mean, is it ironic or is it just like naive? I think it's more naive than anything, right?
Probably.
Because I mean, it's not like I'm a novice to the game. Like I know that Hungary is not a great team, and not just because they don't score. Like if you watch the game, it's like, no, thank you. So, it's funny me sitting here like if we played, if the Americans played in that tournament, like that would be a nightmare. But I mean,
it worked.
But that's the funny thing about us. Or we'd come out guns blazing, win the group. I mean, that's the thing about us. You just never know. It's kind of the impetus of this impromptu podcast this evening. Is the varying levels that we can play at and that we should be playing at, but where we are playing at. But that being said, okay, so we'll wrap up the Euros. We got the draft. We've got I'm going to get a haircut. There's a lot of big events in sports this week that we'll have to dive in on. And yeah, we'll get a guest. But it doesn't have to be Dan, although I'm okay with that. We just gotta. I haven't talked to him in a minute. We'll get him on here.
I haven't talked to him in a long time.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Good.
He'll probably give me the David Spade, and you are.
Shout out to that guy's career too. We got a lot of people stacking cheddar out here. People, David Spade got that Netflix money now. Adam Sandler was like, "Listen, hey Dave, listen, look, I make a movie, I put it on Netflix. Check it. I get to negotiate all the back end stuff. Doesn't get released to DVD. Most of the money just goes to me and my production company. Get in on this, dude." Spade's like, well, I mean, why not? I mean, I'm just gonna.
It worked well for the grown-ups movies.
Well, but those actually went to like actual.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like this is Adam Sandler's second Netflix only movie in like not even 2 years. Like he did that Western, which is actually.
He's actually had some good.
I liked it, but I don't like Adam Sandler.
See, I was a Sandler guy back in the day. I was a big Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore guy. I still am, but
I cannot sit through more than 30 seconds of either of those movies. In fact, I haven't. I've never. Okay, sorry. I made it up to Nudie Magazine Day in Billy Madison. That was it, and then I was done. I was like, this is the dumbest thing, and I mean. I like slapstick and dumb. I mean, Super Troopers like changed my life, but Billy Madison, no. Happy Gilmore, it's on TV. I'm good. People are like, oh, Happy Gilmore, man, let's chill. Nope, I'm good. I'm gonna go for a jog. I don't even like to run.
I believe it's pronounced yogging. I think it's a soft J.
I'm telling you,
I'm contractually obligated to say that. Sorry.
No, man, can't do it. But no, I'm telling you. Shout out to David Spade making that cheddar, son. That Netflix money, that's good money.
Netflix is going up. It's going up to like $9.99 a month at some point. Like,
wait, how much does it cost now?
It's like $8 something. Like or like $7.99 or like $8.59 or it's ridiculous how cheap it's been.
Wow.
It's kind of hoping they weren't going to realize it. It's sort of like when you get the free HBO and your cable, you're like, okay, hopefully they won't notice that I'm getting this right now. And then one day, it's gone. You're like, oh.
That's such a fortuitous moment too. You turn it on. You like you can feel it in the air. You're coming home from work. You're like, man, it's not even gonna work today. I already know. You turn it on. It's you just know. You just know. Yeah, it's just like
it's Taxi Cab Confessions tonight. Damn it.
Gosh, talk about old school. Oh man, the 90s. Yeah, I on the HBO tip, we had we already went over this whole thing last night with the HBO Now not working. I'm like, this is how you know we're polishing off the show. I'm rehashing show topics from last night. But you know what? No, I like this. No, we're gonna do this. We're just gonna one of these maybe when we're both a little bit. Well, I'm settling into life or whatever. Like I was crazy with soccer and the new job. But yeah, we're just gonna have a week where we just go every single night. We're just gonna shove ourselves down YouTube's throat, and just like I don't know if that's like I don't know what kind of image that is, but we're just gonna go for it. Just content everywhere.
Love where your head's at.
What we talk about for 5 days? What do people talk about on sports news now? Can you believe? I saw this tweet that Aisha Curry sent out.
That's one of my pet peeves.
I mean,
and I'm part of the problem because I work in television and we put tweets on our show sometimes. It's like, A, nobody really cares. And B, if they did, they cared 5 days ago when the tweet was posted. They don't care now.
I mean,
so
it just blows my mind. But at the same time, I mean, we're over here like dissecting like the like royalty checks from Mighty Ducks 1 and 2. So, you know, we don't necessarily have as much to talk about either. But just think about those royalty checks, though. I mean, just think about it. Josh Jackson, you're like 12. You get an agent. You're Canadian. You can skate. They throw you in this movie. Did you really think that was going to like set you up for life? I mean, then you go on Dawson's Creek. Did you creak at all? Did you?
Creak? No, I didn't creak.
I creaked hard for like season 1 and 2, man.
That doesn't surprise me. Does not surprise me. You're probably big into Gilmore Girls in season 3 and 4.
No, see, I love this. I love this misconception that I like Gilmore Girls. My sister and basically my sister and her best friend, so essentially my other younger sister too, were like getting on me on this text chain about, oh yeah, you were always playing the Gilmore Girls theme song in high school. Like, I never watched that show. There's this misconception that I like Gilmore Girls. There's also, I'm contesting with now.
Maybe you just had a thing for Lauren Graham, which is perfectly acceptable.
Which one was she? Was she the mom or the kid?
Mom.
No, I mean, shout out to the mom. Obviously, come on, bro.
Have you seen Bad Santa?
Oh, bro. You know I saw Bad Santa. You know I saw Bad Santa.
Such a good movie.
See, here's the funny thing. I hated that movie, but I loved what they did with her because they're basically like, yeah, let's take this like mom, best, wholesome person ever, and just turn her. I mean, that's fun. I mean, it's not objectification. That's just fun.
Yeah, to play a character that's out of your normal expectation or range.
Yeah, they did a great job with it. I didn't like the movie because I don't know. Billy Bob Thornton in anything for me is just like, ugh.
Oh, the kid was great.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
The kid was great, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, everybody did a good job in that movie. Like, I just, I don't know. Maybe it was also like the holidays. I'm not like a particularly cheerful person. I was watching I was like, this.
The scene where they thought the granny was dead still creeps me out a little, though.
See, it's like humor like that. It's like, I don't know. I'm not someone that like normally feels this way, but I'm like, oh, okay, this is where they're going with this. And I don't know. I just didn't. But shout out to that movie. Shout out to everybody's hustle in that movie. Shout out to, what is her name again? Lauren?
Stack of that cheddar.
I mean, that is some serious cheese. Going back to Dawson's Creek. So you didn't creak, huh? I creaked, man. I creaked, man.
You creaked with the beak.
Shout out to him. I mean, to talk about royalty check, man.
I don't want your laugh.
What an incredible movie. Shit, them boys having the time of their lives. I mean, just. Mm-mm-mm. So, yeah, I mean,
recording lines from Varsity Blues, and we're talking Dawson's Creek. It might be time to wrap it up.
no, we're going all night. What time is it? 12:15. There's somebody watching this show on the live stream at 12:15 a.m. Can you just think about that for a second? I mean, shout out to them. Forget about Josh Jackson. Shout out to whoever that person is. I don't know who that is. There's no way to find out, but shout out to them.
Yeah.
For putting up with royalty
I said they
checks.
just left their computer on and went to bed and forgot that they still had it up.
Yeah, it's just cached in the browser. It's not actually a viewer. It's just whatever.
It's a bot.
Ooh, shout out to bots, man. Yeah, that's how we're gonna get the viewer numbers up. We're gonna start paying for bots, paying for followers.
What, you went Silicon Valley this week?
Oh no, is that a thing on the show that they do that? Because that's a big thing in the music world. Is like people buy their followers and they buy their
views. It's something that comes up. It comes up.
Okay. I mean, I'm not really at a point where I'm gonna watch that show for like at least another.
Shit. It's great.
No, I watched it. The first season and maybe even season 2. But I'm just saying, like, I like taper with the TV. So like, I not binged, but I went pretty religious with Game of Thrones and Veep. So I'm like, I'm good. I'm really weird. I think we talked about this. I'm really weird with TV.
Yeah.
Like, really.
I haven't gotten into Game of Thrones. It's just kind of daunting at this point to try to get caught up. But Veep is great.
Veep's incredible. Yeah, I mean here's the thing I say about Game of Thrones, and for you and other people, is like basically if you got sick and you just had to like not be at work for like 3 weeks, it would be like perfect.
Yeah.
I mean that was what happened for me. Like I got fired from a job and then I worked weird hours. I worked mornings and nights, so the afternoons I would nap and then I would just crank out Game of Thrones and then go to my second job for like a solid month before I started working a real job again. And so I was caught up. I was like caught up. I'm talking about like 4 seasons worth. I mean, it's kind of weird when you think about it, but no, so you should no, but it's good. It's good. It's season finale this weekend. Yeah.
Is winter still coming?
Yeah, it's been coming for 6 years now.
F that means.
Yeah, it's been coming for 6 seasons now, and people. But I love that. Like, I'll wrap up with this. Like, what I love about that show is that something happened on the most previous episode that people have been wanting, whether they read the books or not, since season 2, essentially, and we just now got it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm watching it, and it's a good scene. I'm liking it, and I'm like, this is amazing because we've waited so long for this, and we're getting it, and we didn't jump ship. Some shows, like in a show like Friends, eventually you're gonna have to just like you're gonna have to pair people off. You're gonna have to like give the audience what they want.
Yeah.
And that was more of a function of time and not like customer service. Where like they could have made us wait another whole season for this, and they didn't. And I just love the fact that it's like we are so wrapped up in it that we're just like, take what we get. Like, yes, give it to me. Yes, I know I waited 4 years for this, but yes. I just think that's amazing that a television show, a premium television show that you have to invest money in, or not, it's not an investment, you spend money on it. I mean, can do that. That's amazing to me. And people are going to do that for the word too, because we're going to have a premium streaming app. It's going to be called
The Green Room. You get access to the Green Room before the show.
Hey, that's Goobler. Like, this is why the American people are voting for this guy. That's genius.
Right.
I mean, you kidding me? Wow. I'm speechless.
Which never happens. That's going on my resume. Made James Medea speechless.
They're like looking over the interview like, oh, okay, a couple years PGA Tour. So talk to us more about making James Medea speechless. I mean, what was that like? Well, look, I mean, I prepared really well. I had to drop a couple inside jokes to kind of get him off his guard, and then I just dropped a bomb on him at the green room. Who's this imaginary person I'm talking to over here? I mean, what is that?
Well, they were over there earlier, so they moved. Whoever it is.
I know there was here, and then now it's It's good. It's good eye. It's good eye, people. All right. Well, let's wrap up. We've got a big show next week because there's a lot to cover. You know what? We're going 2 hours next week.
Ooh.
We got draft, Olympics. We'll figure it out. That's all I got.
More Dawson's Creek references. We'll fill the time somehow.
I'm telling you, man, I creaked hard. But then I dropped off the creek. Like, I dropped off, like, quick. I don't know, man. I just dropped off. But we'll get it in there, yeah. Let's put Josh Jackson. I have a bucket list notepad here.
Did you ever watch Fringe? Speaking of Joshua Jackson.
See, nah, but, like, I know that I'm supposed to. That's like that.
Yeah.
I heard it was good. So I'm gonna. It's on my list of like if I travel, if I have like that 16 to 8. I have a long flight coming up in the winter potentially, so that's on the list. So I'll give it like 3 episodes.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
If it gets me, then I'll be like, all right, I'll keep the rest. Bucket list: Josh Jackson podcast guest. Dude, I mean, we would not talk about anything that happened in his career after 2003. Be like, yeah, Fringe, whatever. So what's up with the Creek, dude? Like, just what's up with Katie Holmes? Like, do you text her? Did you talk about Tom Cruise? I mean, what is that? Like, that's all I want.
You're the guy that goes up to Clooney like, dude, you were awesome in ER. Not any of the 50 movies he's been in since then. You're not talking to him about Up in the Air, Ocean's 11.
Dude, Ocean's 11. I need to watch that again. Oh my gosh. I'm looking back at our bucket list here. We've also got Rachel Nichols on here. I'd cuddle, dude. I'd cuddle. What else we got on here? The Word from Las Vegas. Matt Jones on the program as a bucket list item.
You can cross off Make James Speechless. That's off the bucket list.
Ooh, I'm going to use the strike-through font for that.
Double strike-through.
I do that in this app. I don't know. Let's check it out here. Apple T. Strike through. Oh, I can do double. We got doubles. We got double, people.
Love it.
All right. So thank you for tuning into a very special episode of The Word.
It's just like when a cool band plays like a surprise show.
And you have to like basically know somebody. You have to be hip to get in. That's
one person knew what was up.
Well, there were 2 at one point. That was what was so amazing. I'm like, what?
Oh, I think one of those is me because I logged in to see if I could figure out who the one person was.
Oh, okay.
I was also I try to inflate our numbers whenever possible.
Hey, we can get that Josh Jackson money. I mean, nothing wrong with that. Okay, so the Word Podcast, the hashtag of sports news stuff. The Word Podcast .blogger.com. That's actually real. It's not a joke. That's our joint. I have to update it though, so don't go there yet. And so for Richard Bruce Planters Nuts Abernathy. I am James Mundia, and thank you.
Emerald Nuts Mundia.
Thank you for joining us. We will see you whenever the next broadcast is.